You wouldn't believe that a man trusted by the entire country, Rick Harrison, the star of Pawn Stars, a respected father and a symbol of the American dream. He won the hearts of millions with his charm behind the pawn shop counter. He taught the world how to find gold in the forgotten, building the image of a charismatic and talented man. But could all that glamour and charm just be a mask, hiding a horrifying secret? If this story shocked you and you want to learn more untold truths about Rick Harrison, don't forget to like, share this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, so you won't miss any more shocking videos in the future. The truth always finds a way to come out, and we'll keep digging into secrets you've never known. Stay tuned. What if the man that all of America reveres is actually a modern-day monster, hiding behind friendly jokes and warm handshakes? And what if his victim is his own daughter, a girl who has suffered in silence for years, enduring until now? She is ready to break her silence, reveal everything in court, and what she says could shake the entire country. What really happened behind the closed doors of the courtroom? Why has the world not known these things? Everything will be revealed right here, under the dazzling lights of Las Vegas, where dreams are traded for gold and silver. Rick Harrison stands tall, an untouchable icon with a sharp smile and eyes full of experience. He is the heart of Pawn Stars, the reality TV show that transformed a pawn shop into a household name. Alongside his son Corey, a young man both arrogant and charismatic, they've crafted the image of a classic American family. Hardworking, humorous, and tightly knit. Every item they touch tells a story, and viewers feel as if they know the Harrison family like their own. But the stage lights, as bright as they are, serve as the perfect mask, hiding the darkest of secrets, secrets that lie deep within the shadows of their lavish estate, where a girl lives in silence. She, Rick's adopted daughter, was taken in during a charity event, promised a brand new life. But is that life truly the dream it was meant to be? Her existence, though hidden from the world, speaks volumes. No name, no photos, no social media, not a single second on screen. She's like a ghost trapped in the very house that was supposed to be her family. But today, in the cold courtroom of Clark County, she steps into the light with a chilling truth. Her testimony is not just a story. It's a bombshell that could shatter the perfect image of the Harrison empire. What happened behind those closed doors? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stand with those whose voices have been ignored for too long. The courtroom at Clark County Courthouse is tense. The air seems to be sucked out and crushed under the weight of a truth about to be revealed. She steps up to the witness stand, no longer a ghost, no longer the invisible shadow in Rick Harrison's mansion. Now she is the fire threatening to burn down an empire built on lies. A young woman, her cold, haunting eyes cut through the silence, and then she speaks. They took turns telling me. Her voice was flat, yet it sliced through the courtroom like a razor. 5 words, but they fell like a bomb, shaking everything: the public's trust, the legal defense, and the fortress Rick and Corey Harrison had built around their reputation. Her testimony was not just heartbreaking, it was a chilling journey into the nightmare of a child robbed of everything: her childhood, her trust. Her voice, chillingly clear, recounted everything from when she was just 10 years old. Right after Rick took her in during a lavish charity event, she had been pulled into a living hell. He said it was family love, she whispered, gripping the stand tightly. But it wasn't. It was control. It was fear. It was hell. She described how Rick, the man with the smile once admired by millions, transformed into a monster behind closed doors. And Corey, her adoptive brother, the one she had hoped would protect her, instead became an accomplice. Sometimes even more brutal than Rick himself. They didn't just abuse her physically. They manipulated her mind, telling her no one would believe her, that no one would trust an anonymous child over America's beloved TV stars. But what silenced the courtroom wasn't just her words. It was the horrific evidence revealed by the prosecution. Each piece was like a dagger, shredding the perfect image of the Harrison family. Investigators had raided a hidden safe room in Rick's mansion, a basement he called the treasure vault. But instead of finding gold or antiques, they uncovered dozens of heavily encrypted hard drives, locked behind biometric scans and steel-reinforced walls. When the digital forensics experts finally unlocked the drives, even the most seasoned agents were shaken. They found hundreds of folders, each one labeled by date, containing surveillance footage from every corner of the house, hallways, living rooms, kitchens. And the most chilling discovery was a hidden camera inside the mirror of her private bathroom. These videos weren't for the house's security. They were tracking her, watching her, recording every action, every moment. Her life had been documented like prey, hunted inside the very place that should have been her sanctuary. But it didn't stop there. The hard drives also contained folders with grotesque names like Family Time. With a trembling but determined voice, the prosecutor described the contents of the videos, footage capturing unimaginable acts. Each video perfectly matched the handwritten journals the young woman had kept secret for 6 years. The ink-stained notebooks hidden beneath the floorboards of her bedroom, lined with painful, haunting entries. March 12th. Rick came. He said Corey would come later. When I tried to scream, he said the house was soundproof. I believed him. Handwriting experts confirmed there were no signs of forgery. Each page of those journals wasn't just a memory. It was a strangled cry. Finally, help had come to light, and the evidence grew increasingly horrifying. The prosecution revealed text messages and emails recovered from Rick and Corey's phones. One message, sent from Rick to Corey just 2 days after she wrote in her journal, read, "She's acting up again. Maybe it's time to remind her who raised her." A message from Corey, sent at 2:14 a.m., contained just one chilling sentence: "It's my turn tonight." Those few words weren't just messages. They were bullets piercing through the carefully constructed facade Rick and Corey Harrison had spent years building. When Rick's threatening voicemail echoed through the courtroom, everyone fell silent. "You should be grateful to live here. Without me, you'd be trash in the system." It wasn't just a threat. It was a declaration of power, a reminder that his reputation was the shield no one dared to challenge. A medical worker who encountered the girl in 2019 testified that she came to the center with terrified eyes, leaving behind only a note that read, "How do you escape a father everyone thinks is a hero?" An electrician later testified that he had discovered a hidden room behind a large bookshelf. Inside, there was only a wooden chair, scratch marks on the walls, and a camera mounted to the ceiling. "I've never seen anything so disturbing," he said. The entire courtroom sat in stunned silence. The letter, handwritten by none other than his father, Richard Benjamin Harrison, the beloved elderly figure from Pawn Stars, was never sent to anyone. It simply began, "To anyone who finds this letter." In it, he wrote, "There is something sick in this house. I can't face it any longer. May God forgive me if I have turned a blind eye for too long." These were not just words. They were a final, chilling confession. Proof that the darkness within the Harrison family had been smoldering for years, ignored by those who chose silence. And yet, the young woman remained steadfast. She testified for 4 full hours. Her voice never once faltered. She spoke of being forced to call their twisted abuse family love, of curling up at night, pretending to be dead, just to be left alone. "They took everything," she said, locking eyes with the jury. "But they didn't take my voice. And now, I'm using it." It wasn't just testimony. It was a declaration. She was no longer a victim. If you believe in truth and justice, show your support by liking and subscribing. Because every voice deserves to be heard. She was no longer a victim. She was a warrior. At the defense table, Rick lowered his head, his hands trembling, while Corey's face turned crimson with rage, as if he were moments from erupting. But no one dared to lift their eyes, for the gaze of the woman they had once silenced had now become the loudest voice in the room. The explosion of this case didn't stop inside the courtroom. Her testimony spread like wildfire across social media. Hashtags like #Justice for her and #Pawn Star Exposed flooded timelines. Alongside stories from other survivors, people who drew strength from her bravery, news outlets replayed her words. They took turns telling me that one sentence had become a symbol, a spark for truths long buried. The world that once idolized Rick and Corey Harrison now looked at them with nothing but revulsion. But for the young woman, this was never about revenge. It was about liberation. She had shattered the invisible cage that once held her, and the fragments of that cage were now tearing down the entire Harrison empire. The fire from her testimony continued to burn, slow, steady, unstoppable, reducing the carefully crafted illusions of the Harrison family to ashes. The Clark County Courthouse was no longer just a place of judgment. It had become a battlefield where truth collided with deception. The fall of a television dynasty was unfolding before a stunned global audience. As Corey Harrison, gaunt and burning with rage, stepped onto the witness stand, the courtroom went still. Everyone held their breath, waiting for a defense that might salvage a shred of his crumbling legacy. But what followed wasn't just the fall of a man. It was the complete collapse of a family once hailed as an American symbol. Corey, who once thrived under the bright lights of pawnshop fame, now looked like a cornered animal, trapped, with nowhere left to run. The prosecutor, sharp, unrelenting, didn't let him breathe. "Do you deny your involvement in the abuse of your adoptive sister?" she asked, her voice cold as steel. Corey's lips pressed into a tight line. "Absolutely. These accusations are lies, delusions from someone trying to tear my family apart." But his voice trembled. The confidence he once displayed on television shattered, crumbling into something weak and breakable. The prosecutor held up a piece of paper, a journal page found inside Corey's home. The messy handwriting read, "I think we've gone too far. I see her face in my dreams, and I feel nothing. Just afraid she'll speak out." The air seemed to vanish from the room. Corey's face turned scarlet. He erupted. "That's not me. You're twisting everything. She's crazy. She's always been the liar. always manipulating. We gave her a life she never would have had. His outburst wasn't just denial. It was a confession wrapped in desperation. The courtroom erupted in gasps and whispers. The judge slammed the gavel, demanding order. But Corey kept going. His voice cracked. You don't know anything about our family. She ruined everything. She's ungrateful. Corey shouted, but his words couldn't stop the collapse. Rick Harrison's downfall didn't save him. It only buried him deeper. At the defense table, Rick never raised his head. The once powerful media figure now sat trembling, silent, shattered. His silence wasn't strategy. It was surrender. Inside Clark County Jail, Rick was no longer a celebrity. Just another inmate lost under cold fluorescent lights. He refused food, stared at concrete walls, muttering about voices, laughter, enemies no one else could hear. In a moment of delusion, he screamed, "They're making it all up. It's for money. They want to destroy me." But no one answered. His fame meant nothing behind bars. After a fellow inmate threatened him, Rick was moved to solitary confinement. Now his world is only echoes, footsteps, and guilt. The Harrison family's fall didn't end in court. It rippled far beyond. Even Adam, Corey's half-brother who avoided the spotlight for years, publicly cut all ties in a final shocking break. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stand with those whose voices have been ignored for too long. Adam Harrison stated, "I'm disgusted and heartbroken by what has come to light. I haven't spoken to Rick or Corey in over 7 years, and now I know I was right to walk away. My heart goes out to the victims." His words were the final blow, severing what little remained of their broken family. Rick's mother, Joanne, remained silent. But a source revealed she once told a friend, "I knew something was wrong, but I was too afraid to face it." To the public, her silence meant complicity. Former employees began speaking out, exposing a culture ruled by fear. "Rick was like a king. If you questioned anything, you disappeared," one said. A former family friend recalled, "The girl always sat in the corner, never speaking. I thought she was just shy. Now I realize her eyes were crying for help." These once overlooked fragments now form a chilling truth. The gold and silver pawn shop, once a major attraction, is now closed indefinitely, its lights gone dark, its future uncertain. In an unprecedented move, the History Channel immediately pulled Pawn Stars off the air, erasing every trace of the show from its broadcast schedule. Las Vegas, a city that once embraced Rick as a hometown icon, has now turned its back. Restaurants, hotels, and businesses rushed to remove photos and signatures of Rick and Corey, as if their presence had become a permanent stain. The public, once charmed by the Harrison family, now roared in outrage. Victim advocacy groups gathered outside the courthouse, holding signs that read, "Justice for her, no mercy for the monsters." Social media flooded with stories from survivors. Many are inspired by the courage of an adopted daughter. One user tweeted, "She is our voice," breaking the silence we were too afraid to shatter. The collapse of the Harrison family isn't just a lawsuit. It's a reckoning. A wake-up call that reputation and power can conceal the darkest crimes. From the ashes of their fallen empire, the adopted daughter stands tall, not as a victim, but as a torchbearer for truth, forcing the world to face the fire of justice she ignited. The collapse of the Harrison dynasty shines a harsh light on the dark spaces where fame and influence protect the guilty. This case goes beyond a fractured family. It reflects a culture where we idolize celebrities so blindly that we overlook the truth. The young woman, once voiceless and invisible in the shadows of a mansion, has become a global symbol of strength and unshakable resolve. For years, her voice was stolen, but she reclaimed it, not just for herself, but for countless others silenced by fear and ignored by the system. Her testimony was more than personal. It sent shockwaves across the world and ignited crucial conversations about hidden abuse in powerful families. This story forces us to confront a painful truth. Reputation can't equal righteousness. It teaches us that real justice begins when we choose to listen, especially to those who have been dismissed and forgotten. She turned her pain into purpose, and her courage into a spotlight that exposed what others tried to hide. Her voice didn't just break the silence, it shook the world awake. If her story moved you, like, share, and subscribe, so that more voices can rise and fewer suffer in silence.